Hello, it's another Blu-ray review. This time we're talking about Negatives from Severin. This is a Peter Medak film from 1968. He's a directorial debut, his film debut, including a Glenda Jackson's debut as well. This is a whole slew release. I don't think I've ever dived into a Severin release before, but this one's pretty unique for a couple of reasons. Firstly, it's actually two films. All regions for Negatives, Region A for Sparrows Can't Sing. I so far haven't actually dived into Sparrows Can't Sing, so maybe I will before I finish editing this video. There'll be a segment down below. You'll see it in the description section. It'll be in a timeline saying Sparrows Can't Sing. I'll probably do a quick review on that. But let's talk about Negatives, because of course, again, standard packaging and everything. Negatives itself, see, it doesn't have any actual details on Sparrows Can't Sing, which is interesting. It just gives you the 166:1 1080p Full HD video for Negatives, black bars on the sides, and English mono. It is in colour, all regions, 98 minutes long in English, and it comes with a selection of special features, but of course we'll dive into the video, audio, and then the special features at the end. So, video-wise, it is a 4K scan from the original camera negative by Studio Canal, which is really nice. It looks really good. Like most 4K scans usually do, it looks nice, it looks colourful, the grain structure is intact. There's still your occasional, white specks and blemishes. Some of the blemishes can be a bit more prominent every now and again, maybe a hair here or a weird squiggly splodge there. But for the most part, it's not too distracting. The worst parts were at the 29-minute mark during this transition between scenes. It literally fades to black. It's actually the same scene, but it just fades to black and then fades back in. And in the fade to black, it seems like it's a real change because there's a lot of scratches and dirt within just this one black image before it comes back into the next shot where you just have like a line down the middle that eventually fades off. I guess they wanted to keep the authenticity of the film negative rather than just being like, oh, well, this is black, we can just cut this, not cut the clip out, but like replace it with a black screen, so they don't do that. It's curious that they didn't really restore that section to it, but still. But once the picture warms back up and the colour on the screen, comes back in, the dirt fades away and there's no other glaring issues. But overall, the picture is nice and healthy with a healthy grain structure. Close-ups show nice intimate details, and it is a very intimate film. Colours pop with reds and greens looking quite nice and natural as well. It is a British film. It's shot in England. It's shot in London. And you can tell, like, the paleness of some of the main characters' skins. Like, one of the opening scenes features one of the main characters smoking, and you get a very fine-lined close-up, an extreme close-up of his face, to see, like, the squiggles in every single moustache hair he has, the stubble that he's, like, shaved off the previous day, but not completely shaved off the day of, the pimply nature of his nose and everything. There's just all these natural elements that you don't get them in modern-day films, to put it simply, because everyone looks so perfect in movies now, but these people look British, because they are, except for that one actor who's German, but still. They look European, white European. But yeah, so skin tones look, natural, especially for the British, so naturally pale. It actually, surprisingly, had a solid 35 megabits for the bitrate. Like, I jumped through it occasionally, I just occasionally check what the bitrate was, and it was always hovering between 35 to 36. It was usually a consistent 35.5, which a couple of fluctuations, even in the darker scenes, it was still the same bitrate, which I've never really noticed before. Like, that's never really happened. Each film I've watched always has a fluctuating bitrate, so this was really, really solid, which is good. So video-wise, really good. The inconsistencies don't really scream anything bad. Again, it's a on-film, celluloid film, so you're going to get the occasional white specks and blemishes like that, but there's no real age or wear on the print. It does look really good outside of, again, that one section I mentioned at the 29-minute mark. But yeah, so definitely a solid 4K transfer, especially for a worldwide Blu-ray premiere. Audio-wise, it did say English mono. My TV had it as a 2.0, which was definitely not, because it was only coming from the one speaker at the front. It wasn't either of the two, it was the one in the middle. But it sounded good. It's obviously very front-heavy, no surround sound, but the dialogue, the music, all of it came out natural, came out crisp, had no issues with it. Nothing was incoherent, there was no egregious background noise, there was no track issues with scratchy natures or anything. Very clean audio track, just completely coherent. On-screen dialogue was coherent, narrated sections were coherent, just no issues with the audio. Audio, I'd say, would probably be better than the video, just because it had no imperfections. I didn't notice any issues with it whatsoever, and I actually listened to the first half with headphones on, and the second half... No, the first half without headphones, and the second half with headphones, which gives me more of an intimate entailing when I'm listening with headphones, especially for a mono film. Yeah, I usually only do that if, like, someone comes home and is playing music. I'm like, I'm trying to watch, like, a drama here. What the fuck are you doing? Stop playing Beach Boys. Anyway, let's talk about the special features, because that's actually why I got this. Because this is one of the last releases that Lee Gambon had worked on. It was announced a year to the day of his passing, which was uncanny. I wonder if that was by design or not. But it does feature an audio interview with director Peter Medak by film historian Lee Gambon, which acts as a commentary track. Like, I clicked on it to see if it was like a 20-minute long thing or whatever. You know, sometimes Lee would just call the person and they'd just chat over Zoom or whatever, and he'd just use the audio in post. But no, this was actually like a solid hour and a half of Peter Medak talking about the film. The only time you really hear the film itself is the opening music, which initially, when Peter was talking, I was like, oh, I can't really hear him well, but then the music faded out, so obviously it was just giving you some tone, and then the audio from the film was very, 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 very faint until the hour and a half minute mark, where the interview just ends, and then the rest of the movie plays out, and there's not that much after that, because again, it's 98 minutes long. Yeah, I guess it was 8 minutes of just... I feel like it was longer, but yeah, no, it was... yeah, around the hour 20, hour 30 mark, the interview ends. I didn't really actually hear Lee talking in it. Like, I was skimming through most of it. I was sitting there for like 5 minutes listening to Peter talking, thinking, okay, is Lee going to ask any questions? Because it sounds like he has, and Peter's just talking, which sometimes that happens in interviews. You'll ask one question, and they'll just talk and talk and talk and talk and talk, which is perfectly fine. But the one time I heard someone else talking, the person sounded British, so they didn't sound like Lee at all. So I have no fucking idea if Lee actually was part of that, but it says, and it credits him as the person who did it, so, you know, that's great. So it's a good benefit to have, but again, it's not a discussion, it's Lee asking questions, assuming Lee was even there. It just seems weird that the one time I actually heard someone else talking and it wasn't Lee. So, yeah, but it could have been someone with Peter maybe asking him a question, I don't know, but they definitely sounded British. Nevertheless, then you also get an audio commentary by Tim Lucas, which again covers the whole film. Tim Lucas from Video Watchdog. Then you get role-playing, interview with actor Peter McEnery, which is a 5-minute long interview with the actor who is the lead actor of the film. I believe he's the surviving actor, because they did mention, or at least Peter mentioned, Diane Cilento had passed away. She actually moved to Australia and passed away maybe a decade ago or something. But Glenda Jackson is never interviewed or anything. I don't know if she's still alive. But they don't mention it, so I don't think she is. But, yeah, so it was just a nice interview with him, just a 5-minute thing talking about the making of the film. It's not overly heavy on information, but it's fine for what it is. Then you have Glenda Jackson, Working Class Wonderland, which is a video essay by Lee Gambon. Now, this one obviously features him talking the whole time, because it is a 13-minute long video essay where Lee looks at Jackson as an actor that represented the working class character. It looks at Jackson as an actress, the types of roles she would play after negatives, because again, this was her film debut, and it analyzes her as part of the second wave feminism. As per usual with Lee's essays, it's very nicely produced. It utilizes images from different films, not just negatives, which is nice. So it contextualizes what Lee's talking about. And as per usual, Lee championing the underdog, the character actor, the unknown face that is always there and always gives a tremendous performance, even if they're not always in the limelight. Like, he was someone who always did that. And obviously Severin, liked their relationship with Lee, because the video essay starts with a tribute to Lee, which was really nice. I knew that it did because someone else who I know who got the film had posted an image of that, but I didn't know what it was part of. Was it like you put on the disc and it mentions it? It's actually just when you play the video essay, it's the first thing that you see, that it has a tribute to Lee, which is nice, So, and it's a good video essay. Then you have Positives from Negative Land, which is a 15-minute long video that looks at the director's collection of images, ticket stubs, and film programs from the film. It's basically just him and a camera guy just sitting in his house looking at a old photo album of the film. All these, images taken during the production of the film, what this meant, what that meant, film stubs and programs and stuff for the history of the film, not just from its conception and making of, but also its eventual release, and posters and little newspaper articles that talk about the film and promote it. So, which is really nice. It's cool that he had that, but it seemed like he had a whole collection of those books throughout his whole career, which is just really interesting of a director to do that and to sit down and talk about it, especially at Medic's age. He's quite old. And then lastly, you have The Doctor Will See You Now, which is a 24-minute long video exploring Dr. Harvey Crippen, who was a serial killer in England, I believe. Well, they go to a museum in the film which actually has a wax figure of him. It's basically because at the start of the film, the lead two actors, this is Peter McEnery and Glenda Jackson, who are husband and wife in the film, which we'll talk about film review. They're a middle-class couple. He has a furniture shop that's kind of like an op shop that his dad owned, who's currently dying in the hospital, and he has no real passion for the place, so his dad's like, oh, you can sell it off if you'd like, but wait till I'm dead first. But so while he's running that, him and his wife are, well, the only way that their relationship gets interesting is when they get kinky. It's known as an erotic film, but it's not really that erotic. It's very tame. There's still titties in it, but there ain't much else. This ain't Italian cinema of the 70s and 80s. This is just British, where it's real kinky because they just do role playing where they dress up as people who are dead. In this case, again, Dr. Crippen. So he dresses up as Dr. Crippen and she dresses up as Crippen's wife. And it even opens with narration talking about oh, you killed this woman, and then you moved over here, and now you're with me. I'm thinking, is this context in the movie? Did he actually do that? So for a while, I was thinking, shit, this guy's a murderer. That's why he has these glasses and a moustache, but they're actually fake glasses and a fake moustache. And no, it turns out he was just role playing the whole time. Because that's just what they do, because when they're not having sex, they're just absolutely at each other's throats and they fucking hate each other. So she's so bitter to him and always putting him down, and he's just so recluse and depressed. It's very interesting, and he meets Diane Cilento, or Cilento's character, and they form a relationship, and then she moves in upstairs, and it kind of spirals from there. It's very interesting. It's a very unique film that was constantly entertaining. It has a great score to it. Again, the characters are really interesting. The actors are really interesting. It's based on a book. The guy who wrote the book co-wrote the film as well. If I know who that is. Based on the novel Negatives by Peter Everett. Negatives is a reference to the fact that the German woman who ends up moving upstairs is a photographer, and she basically kind of just moves into the lives of people, takes a lot of photos of them, and then kind of just leaves. So Negatives isn't really... I feel like it's a double meaning. It's because she's a photographer and you get camera negatives, but also because it's showcasing the negatives of a relationship and the downfalls and stuff like that, and how one thing can completely turn what was already kind of on the verge of turmoil into something even worse, or it's just negatively detailing how shitty their relationship is while they have kinky sex. There's meant to be a kinky sex there. So yeah, of course, this is with the limited edition bonus disc of Joan Littlewood's Sparrows Can't Sing, which Does come with a audio commentary by Daniel Creamer with contributions from assistant director Peter Medic, so Medic still worked on that film. East End Manifesto interview with Joan Littlewood, biographer Peter Rankin. There's a BFI Q&A with actors Barbara Windsor and Murray Melvin, interview with Murray Melvin, and locations featurette with film historian Richard Das. That is also... Oh, I read this wrong. My apologies. They're both from 4K scans, but Negatives is scanned in 4K from the original camera negative by the British Film Institute, and the bonus disc, which is apparently it's a 1963 comedy, which stars James Booth and Barbara Windsor, directed by Joan Littlewood, and assistant directed by Medic, which is now scanned in 4K from the original camera negative by Studio Canal. So there you go, 2 4K scans on 2 different discs. In this one set, I still would have liked if they had have actually detailed the stuff about Sparrows Can't Sing, but it'll be a nice thing to buy. I ordered it directly from Severin, and I ordered in the pre-order bundle, which came with The Ghost of Peter Sellers and Oddjob, all 3 of which are Peter Medic films. It said it was meant to come out in like July, August period, but lo and behold, it shipped like a couple of days later. So I think that they've just got that stuff in stock already, and either not many people are buying it, or it being in stores, like maybe it's a store exclusive for now, online exclusive, and then it eventually will be in retail stores, and that's when they'll be gonna get it. I don't know. I've just never seen that before, where I bought a pre-order expecting to wait several months to get it, and lo and behold, here it all is. So yeah, as an overall, I think this is a really solid release for its price. It's really nice. You get 2 films, which is great, both 4K scans, which is wonderful. Packaging-wise, it's got just some nice artwork. It really emphasizes that like film, negatives, space, and everything, which I really like. I don't even know if that would have been upside down. So yeah. It's a solid release, good special features, a nice transfer, and good audio. So if you're interested in what the British would term as erotic cinema from the late 60s, here you go, it's Negatives. Anyway, that's all for now. Thanks for watching. See you guys next time.